This is Jonah Hill, and you're listening to the only podcast that matters.
Lauren, I hope you're ready to go off because we're finally behind the paywall. As we
now we're behind. You can say whatever you want.
Potatoes of the podcast, as you know, I think you claim
no chance
patron. The three main subjects of this podcast, Throwing Fits, the only podcast that matters, are money,
ka-ching,
and most importantly,
ourselves,
the goddamn motherfucking boys, Jimmy,
Facts.
Harry.
All right, the boys.
Yeah.
What's up?
We're going to start with ourselves, most important part. So you told us already that, several podcasts and highfalutin media publications have already approached you to come on and tell your story, but you turned them down saying, sorry, there's only one podcast I'm going to talk to.
There's only one podcast that matters.
Facts.
Let's talk about, let's name the podcast and publication that you turned down.
No.
And then why don't you tell us why we are your outlet of choice to tell your story?
No, I'm not naming podcasts. Grow up. No, I'm not. But my thing is, with you guys, it's just like, it's like pandemonium. So I thought it'd be fun.
Yep. It's a fucking battle royale. It's a cage match every time.
It really is.
It's a battle royale. I want to know though, so kind of rewinding back to the day that the doctor told you, you have mad cancer, you're going to get all fucked up and shit. Like
that's what the doctor said exactly word for word.
She's like, hey bitch, you have mad cancer. What are you? How New York? You got mad cancer, dog.
Deadass.
B.
In LA, they were like, so you have cancer, but it's like our entire journey with you. Like you're on a journey with us. I was like, okay, but I'm going back to the East Coast. Thank you so much. Again,
this is about ourselves. So I've been watching Breaking Bad. So I want to know, did you go full Destructo, Walter White?
Yeah.
Did you have a mini spiral where you're like, this is my last hurrah?
Before?
Yeah, right before.
So before, when I was in LA, I was like, okay, cool. And my mom was like, I don't really want to leave you. And I was like, okay, cool.
She didn't trust you to make the right decisions.
She was just like, you're going to spiral. And then for me, my thing was like, let me get this shit in because I'm moving back in with my mom. I can't just chain smoke and drink wine how I please on her balcony. And so for me, a lot of it was like, let me make sure I get this in, which I hate doing. I don't like feeling that controlled. But I definitely got it in. And then during chemo, I think for the first half of it, I felt so normal that I was like, I'm not sick. This is annoying. And I have no hair.
You were delusional.
I was so delusional. And my friend Carly Hustle, who's the best, was like, yeah, bitch, you just wait. You wait. And I was like, no, not for me. Not for me. I'm good. Yeah. And then I was waiting for it to just hit me like a ton of bricks. So
and then the Red Devil came through and fucked shit up.
And then the Red Devil came through and it fucked it up. And I'd seen therapists and stuff that were just I felt like everyone was waiting for me to kick in. And I mean, to this day, I'm not really emotional. It's just people are like, oh, this changes you. And I had read some columns done by the Elizabeth Wurzel, who wrote Prozac Nation. And it's this shit doesn't define me. And I'm not going to be one of these people that are like, oh, I'm a stage 3 breast cancer survivor. Everything just felt so performative, but sure. I felt like no one that I knew the thing that was really fucked up too was that a lot of people that we know had gone through cancer treatment. I had no idea. Or people that we know now don't want to be public about it, which is totally fine. And I think being public with it is a blessing and a curse. For me, it took the weight off my back okay, like I
your
would have
titties.
literally, where it's like, for me, I could have moved back to Buffalo and everyone would have been like, why did she move back to Buffalo? She didn't make it in the music industry. It was so crazy.
Well, this is the perception is reality thing. How concerned were you? How wrapped up were you in that? How are people going to see me professionally? Not personally, but were you bothered by because
no, I think like at first I was like, okay, this is a thing I have to do. And I didn't know how long it would take. And I was like, let me just get back to Buffalo and I'll figure it out there. And like me posting all of my furniture on Instagram, which is like where all of my furniture is sold, right? Because I'm like leaving LA. I'm like, hey, buy this couch, buy this planter set, buy these dressers. And everyone's like, why are you leaving LA? Like, where are you going? Where are you moving to New York? Like, that's so crazy. You're moving back to New York. And I was like, actually, I have cancer and I had to move back into my mom's attic.
Moving back to Western New York.
Right. Like that was a big thing too. Like even still to this day, people are so confused. Are you in New York? Or are you? And I'm like, I'm in Buffalo. It's 5 hours from New York driving. It's a 40-minute flight.
It's fucking sick. The rec room rules.
The rec room. But like for me, it was just like, I
love rec room.
They love
I don't know.
Well, I fucking get bottles from there.
Hell yeah.
So my friend Mary I'm with, she's a liquor salesperson, and so she works very closely with her.
She's the plug. She's the plug.
She's a plug. But so for me, I think for me it was like very weird because it was like, okay, I'm moving back home and everyone's asking me 100 questions, so I might as well tell them I had cancer. But it was also so annoying to tell people I had cancer because you have people that I had friends that ghosted me. When I got cancer, I had friends that were like,
really?
Yeah, 100%.
Put them on blast right now.
Yo, call them out. We're behind the paywall. Call them out.
There were people that was like, it was too much for them. Like, this was too much. And I am like,
not me, not Lauren.
No, not you. Because James got me the cameo from Tommy. And like, but my thing was.
Show them the drug you drank?
No. But so my thing was like, there were so many people that either ghosted me during cancer treatment or they were just like what we call grief tourists that were like, they just wanted to know what was going on. They wanted to know what was going on with me, right. So that if someone in their realm was like, hey, did you hear Lauren Nostro has cancer? They'd be like, oh yeah, I talked to her last week and this is how she is. Like, it was a lot to deal with, like how people act in those circumstances. And then for me, my biggest thing was my guilt in all of this. I felt so sad at the people I had not paid attention to that mattered to me in those years. Sure. But I mean, like, James, even me and you, like, we talked more than we probably would have, besides being like, yo, fuck UMG, no shade. But, like, those conversations that you have with people are like, hey, like, we heard you have cancer. Like, how are you? Like, that's a lot for a lot of people.
Are you calling me a grief tourist?
No, because I don't think grief tourists to me are people that are like,
I was hitting you up. I was hitting up just to find the fucking plug in Buffalo. I was like, Lauren, I'm going to Buffalo.
That was way before it.
Oh, okay.
And the weirdest thing for me
He was looking for grief.
He was. The weirdest thing for me was that entire last summer before I was diagnosed, I never felt like myself. And that's something that I'm still trying to get a grip on. Like, I think it's like a body and mind thing where it's like, I just didn't feel right for so long.
Speaking of not feeling right, Lauren, obviously, like, I can't even imagine what it's like to have just radiation blasted at your body, like you're fucking.
I didn't have radiation yet.
Like Dr. Manhattan. You haven't had radiation? Is that what chemotherapy is? So
chemo is like an injectable poison, and then I had chemo and I had the surgery, and I'm still waiting to find out if I have radiation. So my doctors don't think I'll need it, but because I'm so young, they have decided to send me to a radiologist. And if I do have to have radiation, it's every single day for 6 weeks.
Good God. What if you had to pin it down to one thing, what was the one worst thing about chemotherapy?
The worst thing was I live with my mom, right? Because I moved in my mom's attic. which is really nice.
Shout out to Buffalo Jills.
You're right. So it's really nice. She's
Damn,
like,
you're up in the attic like Anne Frank.
I really. Oh my God.
Lawrence can make that joke.
She's Jewish.